Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to have a look at the bodywork, and it's something I've been putting off for a while because it's probably one of the most difficult parts to get right in terms of preparation and painting. The mechanical work I'm quite happy to do, and although I have restored cars in the past and done a reasonable respray, working with glass fibre is a totally different kettle of fish. The car as it stands is probably what you call a 10-yard car. It looks great from 10 yards, but when you get up close you can see the imperfections in the fiberglass showing through the paint and various cracks and splits in some cases, all of which need repairing. So I think what I'll do is I'll show you around the car and then tell you what my tentative plans are at the moment. Okay, let's start with the front of the car, and as you can see here, that's the fiberglass weave showing through the paint. How long ago it was actually painted I'm not sure, but it's obviously a respray. And it, as I say, it looks okay from 10 yards, but as you get closer you can see the weave of the fiberglass showing through. There are also some bubbles in the paint, as you can see there. As you can see, there's a split at the corner of the boot aperture, or bonnet aperture, sorry, and that actually propagates a bit further under the paint, which is clearly visible, though you can't really see it very well on here. Nice little chunk out of the top of the door, and you can see stress cracks going down there, and also you can see there cracks around the handle. Nice crack there at the bottom of the door opening, as you can see. In areas there's a lot of pitting where it has been prepared properly pre-paint. And there are quite a few areas around the car that are usually hidden from view, but not always. This is again the door, and it's not very easy to see. I mean, that looks absolutely terrible, and up close it is. There are a mixture there of the fiberglass showing through the paint and very, very small micro blisters, which you may be able to see there coming through. Right, here we are at the back of the car, and the trend continues. It's quite bad here between the edge of the boot and the rear parcel shelf. And you can see there's lots of fibre showing through. And on the edge of the bonnet and in other places around the car you can see like little indentations in the paint. As you can see here, the door doesn't have the usual overhang through being warped, as a lot of them were out of the mould. This one's been fixed, but the door wasn't altered, as it's the traditional way of making it look good. The outer body has been altered, and I must say it doesn't look bad. Look at the rear bumper. In the manual it states that the rear bumper is held in position by 4 fixings going into bobbins inserted into the rear bumper. This one, when I had it, had a different method of fixing, which was bolts going straight through the side of the bumper, as is the case with a standard front bumper. The uppermost hole is where the bolt should go, and the lower one is where someone's made a modification. Over the other side, there is the standard fixing, but there was also a bolt going through the side of the bumper into some part of the bodywork which is not accessible. Modified it back to the original, although the bobbin in the bumper was damaged, so I had to make some sort of compromise. There you can see the bobbin on the near side. I actually thought these bumpers were filled with a foam. Whether this is the original bumper, I'm not entirely sure. But on this side, you can see I've actually had to drill out part of the bobbin and insert a rib knot. Not a very good repair, but it does at the moment. I'm going to get an original bobbin and re-fiberglass that in. This is paint finish on the bumper. It is absolutely terrible. At least the paint on the front bumper has got some gloss in it, but as you can see there are lots of dings and holes in the surface of the glass fibre, and a few cracks where it's probably had a couple of dings in its time. But it needs stripping down and preparing properly and repainting. I think I'm probably going to go silver for the bumpers, as I think it looks a little bit better on the car than black. The front bumper is easily removed by unscrewing the nuts on the other side of these little bolts from inside the car, as you can see just there, and then the bumper just pulls off. Before removing the bumper, we have to remove the decorative chrome strip, and that is easily removed by just unscrewing those self-tappers there, and it just pulls out. And of course there's another bolt right at the centre of the bumper. You can see there, and then it should come off with no problem. Again, as with the rear bumper, there is no foam in the bumper itself, which I thought was a standard. So again, I don't know whether these bumpers have been replaced at some point. Interior, I've already mentioned that hole there in that corner that needs to be fixed. There's also other holes that have served some purpose at some point, I suspect, but if they're not useful they'll be filled. There is a hole there where it looks like the top of the gearbox selector has gouged a hole. That will be refilled, repaired, and there's a few others here and there, so that's the work on the interior that needs to be done. At the top of the windscreen, it looks as though it's been filled with some sort of mastic around the top of the rubber, and that's gone all hard, and so really I suspect to do the job properly the windscreen's got to come out and refitted with a better rubber. I mean, it doesn't look perfect, does it? It certainly needs a lot of work, this body. I've decided to remove the rear parcel shelf, which is held on with... I've now decided to remove the rear parcel shelf, which is held on with 17 10X fixings that you can see there, and also in order to get the parcel shelf off, I've got to remove those rubber grommets that you can see there and there. That one there, the parcel shelf has been cut away for some reason. Why exactly I don't know, but that needs repairing as well. Added to the list. There's the parcel shelf removed, and as you probably guessed, those rubber grommets didn't need to be removed to get the parcel shelf out. And there you can see that's been cut about. The parcel shelf has been off at least once before, probably when the Spider chassis was fitted, but instead of lining the holes up, as you can see, new holes are being drilled to take the 10X fixings, which is not my cup of tea, to be honest. I'd rather line them up properly. Someone was asking about this bracing I see on one of the forums, and if it was doing anything. It seems to be quite flimsy, to be honest. So some people said it was for bracing, but I can't see it having much effect on that, to be honest. But there you go. These holes in the top of the parcel shelf, I guess, are to allow access to the top of the strut if you need to remove the suspension. There is no hole here, although there's a white cross, which I suspect is to let you know where to drill a hole if you need to remove the strut. It has been done over there, as you can see. As you can see, one of the rear seatbelt anchors there, which actually screws into the chassis. There's also a nasty crack there which needs to be repaired. So, as with other areas of the body, that needs attention. So the question is, what do I plan to do with the body? As you can see, it really needs the paint stripping off. Fiberglass. So what do I plan to do with the bodywork? Well, I could put everything back together after I've refurbished everything and get it running for probably summer, but that wouldn't sit right. The bodywork really needs to be prepared properly after the paint's been stripped off and prepared. Okay, what do I plan to do about the bodywork? Well, it would be a shame to refurbish all of the rest of the components and put them back together, only to be disappointed in the long term because I didn't put the extra effort in and strip the paint off, prepare the glass fibre properly and get it repainted. So that is what I think I need to do. I've never worked on glass fibre before, apart from in a small way. I've had a couple of kit cars, a couple of Westfields and an Ultima GTR, which didn't need much work doing, to be honest, in terms of fiberglass repairs. A couple of minor things, but nothing on the scale of this. So I need to do a little bit of research and get stuck in, to be honest. So that means more bits and pieces have got to be stripped off the car to get it into a condition where I can start work on the body. So I'll try to do as many how-tos on glass fibre repairs as I go along. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Please subscribe and watch the progress. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.